All right. Let me see if I can tag you. All right, this meeting is being live streamed. So I'm going to pull it up on my Facebook. Okay. We're on. So I'm just gonna keep an eye. If somebody asks a question, they ask a question, but I really don't know any way of seeing like who's watching at the moment or anything like that. So I'll just start, but it's on my page. So I'm Zube, and this is our moon jam. We're going to talk about the Taurus, new moon in Taurus. It's a solar eclipse. So let Michelle go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Teresa. My name is Michelle Rodriguez, and I work with a lot of the rituals and rhythms that come with the moon cycles. We work with a lot of herbs and things like that. And Teresa and I have been friends for a while here and really kind of got into talking and discussing how moon cycles work and how they help us kind of grow and how they help us navigate our emotion times. So I'm really excited to be here because this one is an amazing solar eclipse, new moon time. So
just in case anybody didn't know, Michelle married me. I mean, wait a minute, she didn't marry me. She married Zeke and I.
it was awesome.
It was awesome. Okay, so as far as the aspects, like the planets that are factoring huge is that the new moon is in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, and Venus is in Pisces, where she's really fucking happy, like she's exalted. So this is like a Piscean new moon, and Venus is in like an exact conjunction with Jupiter, and that in and of itself is a really good aspect because yeah, importantly, the new moon, it's tomorrow at April 30th, Saturday at, I've got 3:28 p.m. That's in Central Time. So yes, so there are those. And at the time of the eclipse, Venus and Jupiter are going to be in almost an exact conjunction. And they are the greater benefics. So the ancients, looked at the planets, and Venus and Jupiter always seem to signify or imply beneficial things happening. So when they come together in the sky, or in the chart, which is only about, it's over a year, but it's just about every like 14, 15 months, I think. That's a really, it's an aspect that they look for, it's one to be celebrated because it's the two good guys like hanging out. But it is in square to the nodes of the moon are squaring Saturn, and the new moon is with Uranus. So Uranus is some like surprise energy, and eclipses are naturally surprises. So, and there's just a lot of energy, and there's an aspect to Mars. So Mars is like, there's force, there's like, we really want to like start new. Saturn in square to the nodes is sitting back. I always think of him like your dad, like he wants the best for you, but he'll, ground you. You know what I mean? So, ground. We're going to be talking about grounding. But it's like we want to build something in the world. And this is kind of like 3D earthy stuff because Taurus is an earth sign. But Saturn's going to be like, well, is that working? Is that really working for you? Like what are you, what do you need to change? Which is what we kind of were talking about. So then I like to hear your perspective on like the kind of more native approach to it.
Yeah. So right now, I love hearing about the aspects and the nodes and the squares because then it gives me something else to take a look at or be mindful of when I'm kind of stargazing, because that's a lot of what we do right now. It's really nice and pretty outside for the spring and the evening. thank goodness there hasn't been a whole lot of mosquitoes, at least right now. So the kiddos can get out there and take a look at those things. But what we see is reflective of as well of the Jupiter and Venus. So we see a lot of wanting the rain to come. We see a lot of that need for the water, right? So a lot of other spring things are popping up. In the garden particularly, there are some things that maybe we have planted or that we haven't planted, things that we can key in on that we're finding abundance in. And those can reflect back in our life. What is it right now that we are finding that's flowing naturally, right? What is automatically coming to us? And maybe what are surprises? When we get into new moons, we're always looking at intent for new moons, that there's things that are in the shadow that maybe that want to kind of come out, the things that for Taurus are earth, right? They want to sprout those seeds. But we're also asked to see what our footprint is in that, where we're doing the work or where we're not doing the work, where we're willing to meet those things that are growing, and what are we needing to release in terms of things that are getting in our way. So we like to take a lot of walks, right? And this time we can find a lot of different things, but walking in nature allows us the rhythmic sense of calming the mind from the chatter of busy, because it's spring, we've got all these great plans that we want to do, and we have all these new things that we maybe want to try. The sun is out, it's encouraging us to kind of pick ourselves up, but in doing that we might become overloaded, right? We might put too many things onto our plate. So when we quiet our mind and allow ourselves to go for walks, we can pick up the things in nature that are making themselves known to us. I take that as research it, see what calls to you, see what part of that needs to be met within yourself. If they're acorns or little flowers or leaves or the little blossoms that the wild garlic makes to find those bulbs deep down, maybe those are some of the things that you want to try to cultivate within yourself. The stubbornness sometimes of a Taurus does not allow us to let go of the things that we are holding on to that we've claimed, right? We are strong because we have fortitude, because we've gone through these trials. We have endurance because, well, maybe it's not so much the endurance or the things that have been suffered. Maybe that's a part of it, but the joy is your walk, you're going forward. So in finding that relief or that release to let go of any shame or guilt or burdens that you might carry along with that, that is a very special time to then and sit with the rains that are going to come. April, they've brought a little bit of showers, but I think May, we're really going to look at getting more rain. So if you're one who likes to be in the rain, I would say go and just kind of let it bathe and let it just kind of release that way. But you can also gather rain. So you can use it to paint. You can collect it in jars. You can use it to water whatever seeds that it is that you want to take accountability for and action for. For us, when we take a look at the eclipse, it's our reset time, right? It's especially for the solar. It's the time that, as we were kind of talking, it's a time where we walk out in the sun and we're like, this is amazing. This is bright. I can see things so much differently. The clouds are beautiful, but my eyes are a bit strained. Maybe the way that I'm seeing things, it's a bit harsh. So let me find my tools, right? Let me find my meditative states. Let me take those walks. I'm going to put some sunglasses on and I'm going to relax those a little bit. So maybe I can gain a different perspective so that I can start again. Because it doesn't mean that in mid-process, we can't step back and say, wait a minute. Maybe I should look at it a little bit differently. Maybe I should tend it a little bit differently. And there's no harm in that. There's actually beauty in being able to start again. There's beauty in being able to tend to it and want to tend to something in a different manner. And the bull in the Taurus gives us that determination to say, okay, I can start again. Being grounded allows us those roots to make those bends and changes on the top side. And this time allows us really a time to grow that intuition. It allows us the ability to expand our horizons even more. It's okay if we do it little by little, but the expansion is there. It's asking to be met. So it's, are we willing to meet that?
Yeah, the funny thing I keep thinking about, so in the zodiac, like Aries is the infant, Taurus is the toddler. So I was thinking when you were talking about it, like how a toddler will like build a castle with blocks and then knock it down and start all over again. So it's kind of having that childlike, because the way that I'm seeing this astrologically too, is that we want to be anchored in the ground by our roots, but that we've got to be prepared for the wind to blow, because the lunar eclipse in a couple weeks looks really hard. And the moon is going to be in Scorpio. And so that's about things being taken away. So
Right.
to me, like when we set our intentions for this full moon, try to be like broader in your scope of what you want. Think about exactly what you think you want will make you feel. Do you know what I'm saying? So because universe, God, source is going to bring us what will give us fulfillment. But there is kind of an openness to the process of it, because really unexpected things could happen with the eclipse.
Right. And it's absolutely okay to take it a small step at a time.
Yes.
So especially when let's say you have a plan, you have an idea or this theme. This is what I want. Sometimes the steps to get there aren't exactly how you think you are going to successfully arrive at what it is that this end goal is. I say that because right now is about the time for birth, just like you were talking about an infant, right? A lot of births. And our dear friend, right? I hope she's cool with this, but there's a plan that we were discussing, and it's very Taurian to say, I love plans. I love it. It's great. But I've got a different plan. Okay. I've got a different idea. And that's kind of the universe coming in and saying, this is great, but sometimes we're not talking linearly. Okay. We're not going to work this out linearly, because, hey, if you were to have wanted to get there, you would have gotten there by now. Okay. So we're going to work it out a little bit differently. We're going to add some nuances there. And we're also going to bring in some other people, teachers, right? Lesson givers, those that
assholes sometimes. The assholes
that say, okay, are we going to work on this, or are we going to not engage? So that's a big thing right there. The engagement. Are you willing to work on the growth that you need to make the community that will end up kind of supporting you, but you also supporting? Are you willing to work on you so that way you are stronger for that? Or are you going to continue to engage with ideas, entities, beings, themes, tones, past relationships, toxicities? Are you going to rise when they rise to meet you? Because this is a really important time to decide how you are going to spend your energy. This is a very important time where people have a tendency for their soul to go into kind of a depression state. The reason why is they've added a lot of things to their plate. They've become very exuberant and excited with this spring, with this sunshine, with this movement. But then adding to that plate, while you're not able to go back and kind of do more love for yourself, to feel and to fuel the fires that you have that really need that attention, you can then become exhausted. You can then become quieted. And with Taurus, again, their body parts are, interestingly enough, it's the neck, it's the larynx, it's throat, it's the vocal cords, the thyroid, right? The tonsils, all of those places right there where you need that movement, you need that wind, you need that air to be able to breathe, because it's different when you're trying to pacify or appease other individuals. So that way, maybe you think ultimately it will bring you peace by, okay, I'll just do this and then I'll get to my stuff, or I'll go ahead and do that and then I'll go ahead and get to my stuff. When it might be scary to set that boundary. Your vocal cords might shake. The tenor might seem a little bit different than what you're used to speaking, but becoming mindful and getting in a habit of using this, even if it's right now just to massage it, right? Even if it's just to work with it, even if it's just to say, I don't have the words right now, but I'm going to work on them and write it down. I'm going to work on the words right now, but I don't know, so I'm going to sing in the shower, even if my voice is terrible.
Say them in the mirror, or, you know, because our words have vibrations, and when you practice saying something uncomfortable, or I've been clearing my throat a lot ever since the sun went into Taurus, which is kind of funny because I put those together. I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah, because you hear the birds chirping, you hear the hummingbirds coming back in, you hear the buzz of the bees as they're migrating. Those types of things are all making their journey at this point. They're all coming back. They're all filling space. So it's time for us to try to figure out what it is that we want to flower or blossom in our space. And this is an important part of that. This is part of how we communicate. So we need to make sure that we're using those words mindfully, powerfully. And if we are nervous about the power part of it, then it is important for us to understand how we're feeling disempowered, how we're feeling disengaged, and work on that. Because Taurus are really loving beings, right?
Yeah.
They can be really stubborn, but they're very, very loyal. So this is a very good time to work on that before we get into that Scorpio aspect.
The moon in a couple weeks. Another important thing that's happening, and I don't know, it's just funny how things line up. So Pluto is retrograde. I think that happened. I was just looking at that. I think it happened
like
today.
yesterday or 2 days ago.
It looks like today.
Oh, okay.
But I just looked, and it is now. And when a planet goes retrograde, that's when the experience of its, you know, the things that it covers go internal. So Pluto is power, control, manipulation, but it's also like mirrors and triggers and like our hidden things. So where we may have been like looking out into the world, like that is pissing me off, and that is pissing me off, and that is pissing me off. Now it's time to be like, okay, so what in me is pissed off about stuff, and like how can I work with that? Like so Pluto retrograde is a great time for shadow work, and what I find is that the more shadow work I do, the less irritated I get with the world out here, right? And eclipses shake things up, you know. I mean, they happen every like 6 months, but it's always kind of another interesting thing. So this eclipse activated the nodes in Taurus and Scorpio. So the nodes of the moon have been in Taurus and Scorpio since June, I think. No, not that. Anyways, for months, but actually, I think it was in the fall. But they have not been activated with an eclipse yet. So this is the first eclipse. So the eclipses will last in this area for like another, oh, it's usually about a year and a half. So we've still got more than a year to go. And this is where we might realize like, oh, that's how these eclipses are going to pop up in my life. Do you know what I mean? Like there's an area of your birth chart, but also you kind of start to figure out like, oh, it's this experience in my life that's going to be activated. So it would be a good time to journal. For the next few weeks. It's always a good time to journal, but anyway. And then, you know, when the eclipses come up next time, kind of be like, oh, hey, let me go look back and see what happened in the fallout, like, you know, in early May to see where you might have experienced disruptions or whatever, because that area of your life will probably continue to experience that to some degree.
Right. And the journaling doesn't have to be something like, today I'm feeling, to be honest, I'm a horrible journaler. You are so much better at journaling than me, but when I go into my journal time, it's usually like, all right, I'm thinking about red. This makes me think about this. Today I keyed in on that. I've been seeing a lot of this. And then I'll come back and I'll start kind of piecing things back together, because for me, spirit, the representation of earth and how the universe kind of comes to meet me, it's never when I'm writing, it's always when I'm doing something. So I have to be mindful to take time, because that's an important time, or important thing for me, is this space that I create around being creative, or setting aside time for ritual, or making sure that either in the morning time or in the evening time, there's some space, some sacredness that's placed to give thanks back to the day, or for the things that I'm asking. So if there are some things that I'm being triggered on, or that I'm thinking that I need to possibly work on, or just, in other words, spaces in my body that ache, that they don't really make sense as to why they're aching. I wasn't doing a lot of physical activity, or in that area, there's no reason. I need to figure out what is being housed there. And usually it's an emotion, right? Usually it's something else that happened, something was triggered, and then it kind of found itself in a heavy place in my body. So keying in on those different things that I'm seeing throughout the day, or that I'm experiencing, conversations, maybe that what they replay right in your head again and again and again and again and again. Write that kind of stuff down.
Yeah.
See where that lives. See what that is housed in. Because honestly, these eclipses, they have a reverberation back to kind of generational things as well. So it might not be something that you're actively participating in, meaning that it was a trauma that you had, but it could very well be something that was way back when, but now all of a sudden, because it's an eclipse, because it's a time to dig into roots, to ground, to change, maybe now it's a time for you to answer that call or that prayer that was lifted up so long ago. So that's why journaling sometimes doesn't have to look like everybody else's. It can mean you go out if you like collecting flowers, right? And you want to press flowers or something like that. You can go and grab some and then figure out what it kind of brings up. You can, like we were talking about, collect the rainwater, right? There are many different rituals that you can utilize that make sense to you, that give the space and the time for the energy to be met. And it's by unbusying your mind, by unraveling the tension that you hold, maybe in your shoulders or your jaw or your hands. It's releasing the obligation that you have to be doing a million different things and to be present for what is coming in. That is almost the feel of what an eclipse wants. It wants you to stop. Time doesn't exist at that point.
Right.
It wants you to reset. It wants you to be just in that moment. And that's where a lot of these indigenous and kind of cultural relations when it comes to eclipses or moon cycles and things like that, it's a time for reflection. It's a time to celebrate in the ceremony, and it is a time to be unbusy as we try to unravel things.
Right. Because there, like you were saying, there are things that want to come in, and we could be so focused on the plan or stubbornly Taurus that we're not open to like, oh wait, hold on. Like I'm thinking of the fly that keeps flying up to the glass sliding door when like right next to it, it could fly right through, you know? So it's like, are we, you know, like look around, be open to receive. And then I was going to say too, I do journal all the time, but like everybody has been told if I ever like die, well, I mean, I will, but please don't like throw that journal away because there's the dumbest shit in it. Like I am a New York Times best-selling author, and no, it's so dumb. I am Superwoman. I dreamt about poop last night, you know, so like that's what I mean by journaling. Even just like a scribble, or people organize it. Mine is like this, and it's got like random, you know, words, but just prompts where just any way to kind of see patterns, because that's really where things, that's even what astrology is. But if you just look for patterns in your life, like that's the important thing. So okay, and I can't remember if I said at the end I'm going to share the chart and dork out a little bit on the astrology, but I know not everybody's into that. So I know you are, Michelle. So you have a few, okay.
Let's do it.
I am going to bust out the chart. Share screen. Oh, hey.
Hey, fam. What's up?
Fam. That's funny. Okay. Oh, here it is. There we go. Okay. So here is the chart. How do I do this? Go away. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying. There's like, there we go. Okay. That's better. Technology is like not my strong suit, so bear with me. All right, here's the chart for the new moon. And we have over here is, I don't think this is what I want. Hold on, stop share. You guys, I'm sorry. Let me pull it up really quick first here.
Big shout out to Miss Allison and Scarlett and Yes. So I had to put that in there because I love him so much. So.
I know. Allison of Amuse, which is the shop in Bernie in Texas that I work at, or she works there, and she had her baby Scarlett, and her chart is beautiful. I can't wait to talk to you about that.
Right? Yeah.
I know. Okay.
And happy early birthday to Luna too, my cousin's baby girl. So happy early birthday, babe.
Oh, nice. Oh, Luna. That's a pretty name. Yeah. Okay, this is what I wanted. So here we have the sun and the moon over here in Taurus, and they are at 10 degrees. And then we have Mars over here in Pisces at 11 degrees. So this is called a sextile. Oh, Rosalinda's here. Hey, Rosalinda. So this is called a sextile. Sextiles are like buddy relationships. That's like your really good friend. That means that Mars brings energy, like warrior energy, to an alignment, especially when it's a positive aspect. So he's like empowering. Now Mars in Pisces is debilitated, because as you can imagine, like the warrior is not really into poetry, which is like Pisces is more of like that, you know, poetic energy. But still, he's uplifting this full moon. So it's giving us some energy there.
It's like your hype man, right?
What's that? Yeah, totally.
Like your hype man, yeah.
Yeah. So, and in a spiritual sense, like if you want to set an intention, or if people want to set intentions for being more on task with their rituals, or like I want to, up my meditation, or like I want to make sure I do a prayer every night before I go to bed, or whatever, that the Mars and Pisces is good for that stuff.
What
Like,
about business? What about new business? Is that good for that?
yeah,
Right
especially
on.
like a spiritual business or
Yeah.
something. Mhm.
Okay.
Let me see. And then we have, here's Jupiter and Venus. That's what I was talking about. So, and Jupiter is at home in Pisces. So Jupiter is at home and Venus is exalted. So the two benefics are in their one of their, well, their favorite places.
Right on.
So they're both super happy, and they are the rulers of the moon, the new moon. And then we have the nodes are here. So we have the north node over here. Right here. Oh, it's over here. They're all bunched up here. So that's the north node right there in Taurus, and the south node is down here in Scorpio. And those are not bodies in the sky. They're calculation points that have to do with the ecliptic. But anyway, they are kind of like where we are aiming, what we are aiming towards, and where we're moving away from. So here we are aiming towards Taurus things, building stuff, creating abundance and stuff like that. Now, Jupiter and Venus are, there's me clearing my throat, are doing it in sextile. And then this is called a trine. So trine is like you get along like in a group that you hang out with, right?
Okay.
Like you all have things in common, you help each other out. And a sextile is like your best friend in that group. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
But that's kind of how those aspects work. And then we have Saturn here. So that means that Jupiter and Venus are supporting us in moving in the direction of building and creating abundance. And then Saturn here, like I was saying, is in square to the nodes of the moon. And he's just making sure that we're working, that we're doing the work and we're doing the hard part.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because especially if you are, so that's where kind of those lessons, right, pop up, right? Those things that are kind of like, oh, all right, which way are we going to go on this? Because some of them honestly have popped up, and it depends on how your relationship is with lessons. Sometimes it depends on how you might be mentally and emotionally, what kind of place you're in. I really like seeing that because it's on Saturday, right? The eclipse happens on Saturday, and this is Saturn, which Saturday is named after Saturn, right?
yeah.
And to be more mindful, especially maybe on that day, tomorrow, when we're picking up speed, to see the not supervisor role, but kind of, right? The supervisor role in terms of what does it mean when we want to change something, or how we want to put our energy into something. Kind of keeping it in the goal margins. Are we doing what we're saying we're gonna do, kind of thing, right? Or are we being really reactive, right?
Right. Well, and that's one thing that I've been doing personally, is when I feel a reaction, like even if that's not something that somebody is accustomed to, try to notice eruptions that you have, like when you have an explosive emotion, or you like mouth off, or try to get better, like get into the experience of like picking up on it before it bursts out. Because now I've been doing that for a long time, and now I experience it inside, and I'm like, ooh, what's that? And then you can really explore it, right? And it ends up getting explored when it spills out,
Right.
but just in a conscious way, or even, and I'm not perfect, like even I like spout out, or sometimes things just erupt, but yeah, Saturn is kind of like, look at your reactions, like maybe you are, and that's when you get stubborn, you know, like, and don't, and aren't open to like, oh, well, if I just move a little bit this way on the fly and I can go right out the window, like,
Yeah.
so.
I think that this is a great time to slow down a little bit. We are geared up and we have the intention and we have the motivation. Most of all, we have the support, right? That allows us to let go with Pluto going retrograde, to let those things that need to be let go of, release it. Um, it's an amazing thing to be able to release something and not continue to bite or chew on it, right? To not gnaw it up or stick it in your hair, but really to not allow that additional muscle memory for you to continue with that, to spit it out ultimately.
Let it
When
go.
we let that go with Pluto, if you need something that allows you the opportunity to grieve, because sometimes we do,
Mhm.
it's a grief of our understanding of ourselves, of how we're showing up, and that's okay. But once we honor that, write it down in a piece of paper, take it in a fire, light it, and let it go. Like visibly let it go. And then continue to move on, because there are a lot of things right now that are working in your favor. There are a lot of things that are wanting to show up to show you just how much support you have. But sometimes it's a way of acknowledging that we have support. And maybe it's the way that we think that we're able to support ourselves. Maybe our heart is still hurt. Maybe our heart is still sore. And that's where we make time and we make space. That's when rituals and baños and limpias and things that can traditionally bring yourself back in, allow you to move forward in ways that maybe you had hoped, but you didn't see were possible. And eclipses offer us a way to do that as well.
I love it. I love it. Another thing that just came to me that's on my heart to say, and then, you know, I think we're about done unless you have anything you want to add, but it's just kind of coming to me to say, as part of an intention, that you can handle anything. You know what I mean? I am strong, I am powerful, because Taurus is a very strong and powerful sign. Because the eclipse coming up next time, we might experience some like things that are lost, you know, so just reminding yourself that you are a powerful being, and that you are strong, and that you do know what to do with sometimes just one thing at a time, like you were saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Like those sprouts that come up. It's a little bud, and then it grows leaves, and then it starts to go further to the sun to grasp, and then it flowers. But each has its own special time. Each has its own part and its own rhythm. So I do encourage anyone, if you're interested more about your birth charts, or about getting a reading, kind of wanting to work that stuff out in a like a tangible kind of way, I definitely recommend you know, getting a hold of Teresa so she can kind of work with you on that. Because the ability to kind of dive into those things in a different manner sometimes brings us that clarity and that focus that we might need.
Yeah. Well, and thank you for plugging me. I'll plug you. But you guys, Michelle, like, she's the girl I go to for rituals and stuff. And I know some of you or some people experience like, do I have a curse on me? Or you know what I mean? Like, what would you even call that? Like energy cleaning, or if you want to talk about like if you're having ghost experiences or feeling a haunting or something, that's kind of Michelle's jam. Like, she's amazing at that, and she's an efficient.
Right on. Thank you.
All right. I am gonna totally like close it. I do want to catch up with you, but I don't know how to not end it totally.
Okay.
And end the live Facebook. Can I call you back?
Sure. I love that. Yeah. Thank you,
All right.
everyone, for
Bye,
being present.
everybody.
Thank you.
Okay.